Hello everyone, welcome back. I just realized I was not recording anything, so second time's a charm. This week I am very happy because I can finally get excited about a trend that has everything to do with me. After having to endure Y2K and dark academia, which honestly does not scream my name, the old money aesthetic is here to save us. So I thought it would be really fun to make a video kind of exploring this trend, understanding what it is about and how we can incorporate it into our daily lives. I did a few looks, took some inspiration from some things, so I'm really excited to share it with you today. So what is the old money aesthetic? Basically, we are talking about those elements that come to mind when we think of high society and wealthy people. This name is a little bit controversial. I've actually seen some articles talking about it in a negative way, saying that it incentivizes the worship of wealth and it puts a bigger gap between the classes, which I think is a bit of a stretch. I mean, it's just a trend, let's all calm down. Honestly, all of the elements that I've seen about this kind of go hand in hand with what we already know and love. So classic cuts, preppy style, nothing too crazy, nothing too out of the box, just those staples that we all know and that always work no matter the time, no matter the age, no matter the trend that is going out there. So without any further ado, let's explore this trend. Okay, so what comes to mind when I think old money? Personally, for me, it's those classic lines. I think a lot about those campaigns from Ralph Lauren in the 90s and 2000s, also Donna Karan, Calvin Klein, maybe some Armani. I can also go a little bit back further into more retro styles, so the 50s and 60s and the socialites from those times. So there is a lot to choose from. You can go old money, English monarchy, you can go Texas high society, you can go preppy Connecticut. I mean, there is so much to choose from. So I think this is the fun part of this trend, is actually having a lot to play with and having a lot of options to create a look that is your own. And of course, I am not here talking as the authority of old money since I don't come from it. But I do think that when you're not inserted into that world, you can absolutely get inspired not only by real people, but also from characters in movies and TV shows. So that is kind of what I did here today. My first tip, and I think this is such a universal concept that is going to make you look better dressed no matter what trend you're wearing, which is having a blank canvas that is already kind of taken care of. Hair that is slightly made up. We don't need a big hairdo, but at least a blowout, a little bit of makeup just to make you look more alive, nails that are manicured or at least clean, polished, good to go, and appropriate undergarments. So starting off with a nice, clean, polished base is a must. Second thing that I think is very important to point out is the fact that you do not need money to make this trend work for you. I will show you the looks that I created today, and honestly, 95% of what I'm wearing in each single one of them is fast fashion. If you have a look in mind and you know what you're looking for, you really find some great things. In one of my videos, one of you asked me, where are your earrings from? They're always so nice. These ones, for instance, are mango. These ones are H&M, and these ones are vintage. So you can absolutely get this look without breaking the bank. And it's not only with jewelry, but also other types of accessories. If you want to go overboard and super high glam, this stole I got from Zara is faux, but I think it does look quite good for fake fur. Sometimes it can look like a stuffed animal, but this has a very nice variation of coloring that almost makes it look real. I love it. Don't break the bank, just choose wisely. And if we're talking about actually saving money and trying to find those bargains in fast fashion, it's very important to have in mind the right cut and the right fabric. So trying to shy away from things that look like they were not made for you or that should belong to someone else. Be thoughtful about the length of sleeves, be thoughtful about how a pair of pants hugs you in the hips and in the thighs. Be sure to get a blazer that is not too tight or too loose. If you have a coat, try and have the shoulder seams aligning with yours. Those little details make a huge difference. And also in terms of fabrics, if you cannot buy 100% cashmere, try to buy a mix between wool and cashmere, or even a good quality acrylic mixed with wool. Those satin or silk-like finishes that have the same weight as it would in real life. So just be mindful of that, just so that it doesn't ruin a look that is almost perfect. So my first look was inspired by one of my favorite movies. It is called Metropolitan, basically about a group of teenagers in the debutante scene of New York, and it follows them around their talks and the nights that they spend together. And what I love about this movie is that even though it talks about a very privileged group of people, the movie had a very low budget. So I think that the same way that we're trying to be resourceful and construct these looks with a lower budget, so was the costume designer of this movie, which means it is really doable. And to me, the best parts of this movie in terms of costume design is when they are actually a little bit more casual and in a more casual setting. So you can see how these people look off duty, so not wearing ball gowns or smokings, but actually in their day-to-day clothes. And my favorite one is this one where one of the characters is wearing a red sweater with red socks, some loafers and some pants. And you can see that she finishes off the look with a strand of pearls, a bracelet, perfectly done hair. And this is such a good way to use the trend in a more relaxed version. Just because you're doing something a little more casual, I think it is important to be considerate of what you're wearing. And the way that I did it was, instead of wearing red, given that I don't have a red turtleneck, I do have red socks though, so I might find a red turtleneck at some point. I just wore a blue turtleneck with black pants, some loafers, and instead of pearls, I am actually wearing a set that my mom passed on to me. And I think this is also one of the key elements of this trend, which is the whole concept and the whole idea of heirlooms, those pieces that have been passed on from generation to generation and have just been part of the history of the family. It can be a strand of pearls, it can be your grandmother's alligator purse, a fur coat from your aunt, maybe a watch your grandfather used to wear. I just love how these worn out elements give life in a way to the trend and make it more personalized and more you. Nobody's going to have that same piece. No one's going to see that piece in a store. I think this is a great way of celebrating your heritage and wear those pieces that just speak to who you are and where you come from, basically. Another look that I really love is the power blazer. So in this case, I was actually inspired by Princess Diana. She had amazing off-duty style, which is always a great inspiration. Like I said, we don't want to completely abandon our sense of style just because the occasion is not formal. Princess Diana off-duty to me is an icon. And I love that she had like this phase right after she got divorced where she was fighting herself and she was discovering her own sense of style and her inner source of power and self-confidence, which is when she started to wear very body-conscious dresses and wearing blazers and Gucci bags and jeans. It was really just very inspiring. In this case, I combined this Zara blazer, so we're talking Zara again, with A white shirt, simple, classic, and a pair of white denim, which is a crucial item, I think, for this trend. The white denim is one of those pieces that you will see time and time again, iconic, classic ladies wearing. So Audrey Hepburn wore them, Jackie Kennedy wore them. All through history, it has been a staple, and I think it really goes well with this trend. To give it some balance and some proportion, given that I'm wearing a white shirt and some white denim, I put on a belt. The bag that I'm wearing is also Zara, cost 30 bucks, so again, don't break the bank. And I think it looks quite good. I mean, it does have that kind of boyish energy that is very 80s and 90s preppy. I love that this blazer has a beautiful tweed to it, so even though it is Zara, it doesn't look low quality. The buttons are also very interesting. Total winner for me. And speaking of blazers, I really do think that investing in a couple will take your wardrobe to the next level. So for instance, I have this other blazer that is also from Zara, but it is completely white. It is not in a tweed fabric, it is more of a suit kind of construction, a great layering piece. In this case, I combined it with a white turtleneck, a pencil skirt in a check pattern, so also patterns that are more traditional are a great way of incorporating the trend. So checks, paisley, leopard print, done well. Cannot be colorful, crazy leopard print, has to be traditional leopard print. Stripes, all of those prints that you think about when you think heritage, when you think classic, when you think timeless, that is what you're looking for. And instead of combining it with some high heel boots, which for me would have been the clear choice, I tried them with some knee-high boots that are actually flat. This way you're not being too over the top and not too glamazon. You are going on a more pared down route. To finish off, I have this kind of embossed croc bag from Zara, a little headband that I got from H&M, and this belt that I also got from H&M. So see, fast fashion for the win. Another character that has always inspired me so much is Betty Draper from Mad Men. I think Betty has had to withstand so much hate and so much criticism from the public, but she is honestly one of the most interesting and intricate characters of the show, and her wardrobe is just to die for. That 50s, 60s housewife with that pristine, just perfect appearance that obviously is not very practical and also can be a little bit constrictive, but still beautiful thing to behold. My favorite period of Betty's storyline is when she goes back into horseback riding and her life is a mess and she's trying to use this activity to kind of clear her head and forget her problems. But of course, in classic Betty fashion, she is practicing a sport while looking picture perfect. I love the combination of her makeup and hairstyle, lipstick, earrings with those equestrian elements that are also very old money. And there is this specific scene in which she just finished working out and she starts getting ready to leave the stables, and she has the blazer on and then she puts on her silk scarf over it, then she puts on a coat, and she just looks absolutely stunning. So I think there is a huge lesson to learn here. I try to imitate that style by combining a few key elements that we might all have in our wardrobe, which is this really basic white knit and some brown suede leggings. To give it a little bit of interest, I added this scarf, which I got from H&M a few seasons ago, that has this equestrian chain link design to it, and I used that to kind of give some interest to my neck area. Then I topped it off with a blazer that has actual elbow pads and a tweedy fabric. Pulled my hair up and there you go. Ready for my dressage lessons. And again, this blazer from Zara, I love the detailing in it because the fabric itself is not wool at all, so if you get really close to it, you can see that it's not super high quality fabric, but the details in it kind of elevate it to a more precious and high-end piece. So you get the very pretty buttons, you have the shoulder pads like I said, you have the piping close to the pockets. So all of these small details when you're buying something in fast fashion can really help get you that high-end, elevated, polished look. Then in true Betty fashion, I topped it off with a bigger car coat, which I think is a great way of creating layers, especially if it is very cold and you just want to remove your coat once you get to where you need to go. So maybe you're going to work or you're going to a restaurant, but you still want to have that structured look. Keeping the blazer underneath the coat might be a great solution for that. I kind of switch up the knot from the scarf, and there you go. A great little look to go from stable to restaurant in no time. Something new that this trend really helps us get better at dressing up and at leveling up our look is to take very basic elements, and by adding a few little details, you can actually make something look way more expensive and way more sophisticated. So, as an example, I start this look very basic: a black long sleeve t-shirt, some cream pants, and some boots. Are not even high heel boots, these are actually Chelsea's, no big deal. I then add a shawl in a knit fabric, which gives it a little bit more interest, a little bit more dynamic. Pair it with this bag that is one of my favorite bags. I got it from Mango, I think 2 years ago, and I love how it has that vintage feel to it. And then one element that I feel like nobody uses anymore, a piece that has been forgotten by time and that whenever I see, I just want to face palm and hit myself and think, why don't I use this more? Which are brooches. So in this case, I'm wearing a brooch to kind of finish off the folding in my shawl, and instantly I look so much richer. The miracle of brooches, I'm telling you. It's one more accessory that I didn't know you needed, but that actually does make an impact, and that can be worn over a cashmere sweater, over the lapel of a blazer, with a dress. Just not being afraid of adopting these pieces that might seem outdated but actually serve a great purpose is always a great tip. One thing that I love about the 50s and 60s and the sophistication of that era is how they played around with silk scarves. And you can see this when you look at pictures from Jackie Kennedy especially, or even the Queen of England in that time, how they used to incorporate silk scarves in day-to-day looks, and it just added a layer of interest and of design. And I really do think, you guys know that I am completely obsessed with scarves. This is the moment to wear them. So here I am showing you basically 2 different ways of wearing 2 different scarves. So this is a smaller scarf, and I basically do a little sailor knot, which is just folding the scarf in half and giving it a knot in the front. It kind of gives your shoulders more of a graphic interest. So if you're wearing something really basic like a turtleneck or just an overcoat, silk scarf in a sailor knot really helps with that. And the second one is a sort of bib style knot. So you basically fold your scarf in half and you place it in front of your neck, loop it around your neck, and finish it off with a knot. Super simple, does not take any special skills, but makes a huge impact. And my final look comes inspired by another one of my favorite movies, which is I Am Love. This movie has been shot in Milan, so it has a really special place in my heart. It was shot in Villa Necchi Campiglio, which is a landmark here in the city and is one of my favorite places ever. The main character of the movie, who is played by Tilda Swinton, Clinton has amazing wardrobe, and not only her, most of the characters in the movie have that discreet elegance. So it is not that depiction of very cliche, unreal richness. It is more of what these people would actually wear if they existed in real life. And one of my favorite scenes from the whole movie is when she goes to a restaurant that is run by her lover. She's wearing this red dress, some beautiful earrings, a bracelet, and perfect hair. To me, that is the quintessential outfit for going out to dinner. Cocktail dresses are kind of losing their moment. We are all trying to be very practical, and we're always trying to be overly casual. But I think it's so important to have those special occasion dresses. And I'm not talking about special occasion like a wedding or a graduation. I'm talking like just going out to a special meal with your family or with your significant other, and thinking about every element of your outfit for that occasion. In my case, I chose this sort of magenta dress. It has a bow around the waist, so makes it more feminine and hugs the body better. I combined it with classic nude pumps, added a gold bracelet, some earrings that are clip-on and vintage. If you actually count it, I am wearing 4 items of clothing, and in my opinion, it looks really put together. So it just goes to show you don't need a bunch of things, you don't need to add 1,000 elements to actually look more sophisticated, more elegant, more high-end, but you just have to choose the right ones. So that's it, you guys. What do you think of my old money aesthetic interpretation? Is there any piece or article of clothing that immediately makes you think of old money? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe if you'd like to, and we'll see each other in the next time. Bye!